I remember a specific tree from my childhood. It was in a small park near my grandmother's house, and in my memory it was huge. Its branches were so low you could climb on them like a staircase, and they reached out over a tiny creek. I spent hours under that tree. It was a giant, a silent friend. The memory of it is crystal clear. It feels as real as the chair I am sitting in right now. About 20 years later, I went back. My grandmother was gone, but I took a walk through the old neighborhood for myself. I went to the park looking for my tree, and I found it. But it wasn't a giant. It was an ordinary tree, maybe even a little small. The branches were not low. The creek was just a ditch. The strange thing was the feeling. It was a quiet shock. My mind had two pictures at once: the giant tree of my memory and the normal tree standing in front of me. For a moment, my brain fought for the memory to be the real thing. The feeling of certainty I had carried for 2 decades was so strong. It felt like a fact, and it was wrong. The story I had been telling myself was a fiction. A pleasant one, but not true. This small, harmless moment holds a much larger idea. We tend to think that misinformation is something that happens to us, that it's a force from the outside. We think of fake news as a weapon used by others to fool us, and that is part of it. But the most powerful stories are the ones we tell ourselves. Our brains are story machines. They take bits of information, feelings, and memories, and they weave them together into a narrative that makes sense. This ability is a gift. It helps us understand the world. But it also creates vulnerabilities. The way our brain is built, the very programming that helps us survive, can make us believe things that are not true. The problem isn't that our brains are broken. They work just fine. The problem is that they are old. They are running on software that was perfected for a world that no longer exists. A world of small tribes, of immediate dangers, and of shared truths. Today, we live in a global village with dangers that are invisible and with millions of competing truths. Our brains are using an old map to navigate a new world. This is not a story about politics. It's not about who is right or who is wrong. It is about awareness. It is about understanding the quiet machinery in our own minds. Because if we don't understand how our own brain works, we give others the power to work it for us. This is a story about how to take that power back. The human brain is the most complex object we know of. Yet in some ways it is very simple. Its main job is to keep you alive. And to do that, it has to be efficient with its energy. Thinking is hard work. It burns calories. Your brain is always looking for ways to save energy, to take a shortcut. Imagine you walk the same route to work every single day. For the first few times, you pay close attention. You notice the cracks in the sidewalk, the color of the doors, the sound of traffic. But after a month, you don't notice those things anymore. Your brain has created a shortcut. You can walk the whole way while thinking about something else entirely. Your body is on autopilot. This is your brain being efficient. It saves you the energy of having to relearn the path every morning. This is a wonderful ability. It frees up our minds to focus on new problems. But what happens when the path changes? What if one day construction workers dig a large hole in the middle of your usual route? If you are on autopilot, lost in thought, you might not notice until you are right at the edge. Your trusted shortcut has suddenly become a danger. This is what is happening with information today. For thousands of years, our mental shortcuts worked well. We lived in small communities. We could trust the people around us. Information was simple and slow. Our brains developed shortcuts that were perfectly suited for that world. But now, we live in a world of information overload. We are flooded with stories, pictures, and opinions every second of every day. This new world is like a city where the streets are constantly changing. And our brain, in an effort to save energy, keeps trying to use its old, familiar paths. False information often looks like one of those familiar paths. It feels simple. It feels right. So we follow it without checking to see if there's a giant hole right in front of us. We are going to look at 3 of the most powerful shortcuts the brain uses. These are not rare quirks found in a few people. These are fundamental parts of how every human mind works. First, the brain has a deep need to be right. It prefers information that confirms what it already believes. Second, the brain has a simple rule. If you hear something often enough, it starts to sound true. Repetition can create reality. Third, the brain trusts feelings over facts. A strong emotion can act as a veto, shutting down our ability to think clearly. These are not flaws in our design. They are features. They are the tools our ancestors used to make sense of their world, quickly and efficiently. But in the modern world, these same tools can be used against us. They can be hacked. Understanding these shortcuts is the first step toward not letting them lead you down the wrong path. Think about the last time you were proven right about something. Maybe it was a small argument with a friend or a prediction about a sports game that came true. How did it feel? There is a quiet satisfaction in it, a little spark of warmth. It is the feeling of order, of the world making sense, the feeling of being correct. Our brain loves that feeling. It is a signal that our model of the world is working. It means we are safe. Because our brain enjoys this feeling so much, it actively seeks it out. It is like a creature that is always hungry for the feeling of rightness. So how does it find it? It looks for proof. It scans the world not for the truth, but for evidence that confirms what it already believes. Imagine you have a favorite car brand. You think it's the best one on the market. When you go online, you find yourself clicking on articles titled, 5 Reasons Why This Brand is Number 1. You watch videos from owners who love their car. You read reviews that praise its performance. Every piece of information you consume reinforces your original belief. And every time you get that little spark of satisfaction, you were right all along. But what about the other information? The articles titled, Common Problems with This Car Brand. The reviews from unhappy customers. The data showing it has high repair costs. Your brain has a tendency to skip right over those. It might dismiss them as biased. It might find reasons to distrust the source, or it might not even see them at all. Your attention is naturally drawn to the information that makes you feel good. This process is mostly invisible to us. We are not consciously deciding to ignore evidence. Our brain does it automatically, like breathing. It's an energy-saving trick. Thinking deeply about something that challenges your beliefs is hard. It can be stressful. It creates a feeling of conflict in your mind. It is much easier, much more efficient to simply look for agreement. Think of it like a car radio. You can scan through dozens of stations playing all kinds of music. But if you only love one type of music, you will find that one station and leave it there. You might listen for hours and come to believe that this music is the most popular, the most common sound in the world. You are not wrong. You are hearing it all the time. But you are not right either. You are simply living in a world filtered by your own choices. You are only hearing the songs that confirm you have good taste. We all do this. We do it with our favorite sports teams, our ideas about health, our views on the world. We build a comfortable room around ourselves, and the walls are papered with evidence that we are correct. It feels safe in that room. But the danger is that we forget we are in a room at all. We start to believe that the room is the whole world. This natural tendency of the mind has a name. Scientists call it confirmation bias. It is the invisible filter that bends reality to fit our expectations. It ensures that we are always finding proof for the stories we are already telling ourselves. It is the quiet force that keeps us tuned to only one station, while a universe of other sounds plays on, unheard. The sky is a brilliant blue. That feels like a simple fact. We know it because we can see it. But what if we couldn't see it? What if we were told from birth, every single day, that the sky was green? At first it might sound strange, but if every book said it, every teacher taught it, and every person you knew repeated it, a change would happen in your mind. The sky is green. After a while, that sentence would start to feel normal. It would feel true. The sky is a brilliant blue. Familiarity creates comfort. The human brain is built on a very old, very simple rule. What is familiar is probably safe. What is new could be a threat. This goes back to the deepest parts of our survival instinct. Imagine our ancestors foraging for food. They see a patch of berries they have eaten before. Those berries are familiar. They are safe. A few feet away is a new, strange-looking plant. That plant is an unknown. It could be poison. The safe choice is to stick with what you know. This safety rule doesn't just apply to plants. It applies to everything. People, places, and ideas. A familiar face is safer than a stranger. A familiar path is safer than an unknown trail. And a familiar idea is safer than a new one. When we hear a statement for the first time, our brain is cautious. We might question it, but the second time we hear it, it's a little more familiar. The caution begins to fade. The 10th time we hear it, it feels like an old friend. Our brain's safety detector starts to relax. It thinks, I've heard this before, so it must be okay. It begins to mistake the feeling of familiarity for a signal of truth. The sky is a brilliant blue. Think of it like a path being worn into a grassy field. The first person who walks across leaves only faint footprints. It's not yet a path. But if more people follow that same route, the grass gets trampled down. A clear trail begins to form. Soon it's a deep, wide path. Newcomers will naturally follow it, not because it's the best or shortest route, but because it's the most obvious one. It's the path of least resistance. A lie can become a path in our minds in the same way. If it is repeated enough, it carves a mental groove. Each repetition makes the groove deeper. Soon, our thoughts naturally flow down that channel without any effort. We stop questioning the statement and simply accept it. Its familiarity has made it true. This isn't a new discovery. Advertisers have used this principle for a century. They know that repeating a simple slogan over and over again makes it stick. It makes it believable. A famous example comes from the diamond industry. Before the 1940s, diamond engagement rings were not very common. An advertising agency was hired to change that. They came up with a powerful idea and a simple phrase. A diamond is forever. They put that phrase everywhere. In movies, on radio, in magazines. They linked diamonds to love, to commitment, to eternity. The idea was repeated for decades. It became a well-worn path in our collective culture. The belief that a diamond ring is an essential part of marriage feels like an ancient tradition. But it was largely manufactured through constant repetition. The idea became true because we heard it enough. This mental shortcut is called the Illusory Truth Effect. It's the illusion of truth created by repetition. It is the reason why propaganda works. It's why myths persist, and it's one of the most powerful tools used to spread misinformation. Because if a lie is said enough times, the brain's ancient safety mechanism can be fooled into accepting it as a fact. Imagine it's late at night. You are in your home and everything is quiet. Suddenly, you hear a loud crash from downstairs. What happens in your body? Before you have a single conscious thought, your heart starts pounding. Your breathing gets shallow. Adrenaline floods your system. A powerful feeling of fear takes over. This all happens in less than a second. This is your brain's first responder in action. The emotional part of your brain is like a security guard. Its only job is to detect potential threats and sound the alarm. It is incredibly fast. It has to be. In a true life or death situation, speed is everything. After the initial wave of fear, another part of your brain starts to wake up. This is the logical thinking part. It's like a detective who arrives at the scene a few minutes later. The detective is slow, careful, and methodical. It starts asking questions. Was that the wind? Did the cat knock something over? Is there a real danger? In our ancestors' world, this system was perfect. If you saw a snake in the grass, the security guard, fear, made you jump back instantly. The detective could figure out if it was a venomous snake later from a safe distance. The emotions saved your life. The logic helped you learn. But this system is not well designed for the modern information world. It treats a scary news headline with the same emergency response as a snake in the grass. A story designed to make you angry or afraid can hijack your brain. It triggers the security guard. Your heart rate might go up. You feel a hot flash of outrage. Your critical thinking, the slow, careful detective, gets sidelined. The alarm is too loud. In this state, our feelings become our evidence. If a story makes us feel intense anger toward a person or group we already dislike, that anger feels like proof that the story is true. We don't pause to look for facts. The emotion is the fact. The story feels true, so we believe it is true. Think of a headline about a crime happening in a nearby town. The story is written with emotional words. It describes a frightening event. Your fear is a real and immediate feeling. That fear makes you believe that crime is rising, that your neighborhood is no longer safe. The actual statistics might show that crime has been going down for years. But the statistics are just numbers. They are cold and abstract. Your fear is warm and real. The security guard in your head trusts the feeling, not the spreadsheet. This is why stories are so much more powerful than data. A story can activate our emotional system. It can make us feel hope, or fear, or love, or disgust. And once those feelings are activated, they can easily overpower our rational mind. The heart makes a decision before the head gets a chance to even look at the file. This shortcut is known as emotional reasoning. It is the process of assuming that your strong feelings are a guide to reality. I feel anxious, so something must be wrong. I feel angry, so I must have been wronged. It is one of the most powerful vulnerabilities of the human mind, because whoever can control your feelings can control your version of the truth. For thousands of years, these three habits of the mind, the search for confirmation, the belief in repetition, and the power of emotion, were just part of being human. They operated in the background of our lives. They were features of our internal world. But in the last 2 decades, something has changed. An external machine has been built that is designed specifically to find these habits and exploit them. That machine is the modern internet, especially social media. And the programs that run it are called algorithms. It can be helpful to think of an algorithm not as a person or a thinking being, but as a simple tool with a single purpose. The purpose of the algorithms that shape your online experience is not to inform you. It is not to make you smarter. It is not to show you what is true. Its one and only job is to capture and hold your attention for as long as possible. Your attention is the thing being sold. It is the product. Every second you spend scrolling, clicking, and reacting is a second that can be sold to advertisers. The entire system is built around this one goal. So, how does this machine hold your attention? It learns about you. It watches what you do. And it has discovered that the best way to keep you engaged is to feed the 3 shortcuts in your brain. The algorithm sees that you click on stories that align with your existing beliefs. It sees that a video confirming your worldview makes you stay on the page longer. So it shows you more and more of that content. It builds a perfect, comfortable room for you, feeding your confirmation bias 24 hours a day. The algorithm also knows the power of repetition. It shows you the same ideas, the same phrases, and the same symbols over and over again from hundreds of different sources. It creates a digital drumbeat. It leverages the illusory truth effect at a massive scale, making manufactured ideas feel like common sense. And most of all, the machine knows that nothing grabs attention like strong emotion. It has learned that stories causing outrage and fear are the most powerful drivers of engagement. These posts get the most clicks, comments, and shares. So, the algorithm pushes the most emotional, divisive, and anger-inducing content to the top of your feed. It is a master at triggering your internal security guard, keeping you in a state of high alert and emotional reaction. This system is not necessarily motivated by a desire to deceive. It is not evil in the way a person can be. It is simply a machine, doing its job with incredible efficiency, but the side effect of that job is the creation of a distorted reality for each of us. It is an environment perfectly designed to make us believe things that are not true because those beliefs are profitable. It has hacked our brains for cash, so what can we do? The picture seems bleak. Our brains have ancient vulnerabilities, and there is a massive global machine built to take advantage of them. It is easy to feel powerless. The answer is not to try to outsmart the machine. It is not to spend hours doing your own research on every single thing you see. That is exhausting, and for most of us, it is impossible. The answer is not about fighting the giant system. It is about managing our own inner world. The solution is much smaller, much quieter, and much more personal. The system that feeds us misinformation relies on one thing above all else: speed. It wants you to see a headline, feel an immediate emotion, and react by clicking or sharing. The whole process is designed to happen in an instant, before the slow, logical part of your brain has time to wake up. Your single greatest power, then, is to deny the system its speed. It is the power to slow down. It is the power of the pause. Here is a simple habit to practice. The next time you are scrolling and you see a post or a headline that gives you a strong jolt of emotion, whether it is the warm glow of agreement or the hot spike of outrage, do nothing. Just stop. Take your thumb off the screen. Take a single conscious breath. Do not click. Do not comment. Do not share. Just pause. For 3 seconds. In that small space you have just created, ask yourself one simple question. What emotion is this story trying to make me feel? Try to name it. Is it anger? Fear? Self-righteousness? Belonging? Just by identifying the emotion, you perform a kind of magic. You shift from being a participant in the emotion to being an observer of it. You move the experience from your fast, reactive brain to your slow, thinking brain. The spell begins to break. This simple act changes everything. It doesn't require you to be an expert on the topic. It doesn't require you to fact-check the world. It only requires you to check in with yourself. This is not about winning arguments online. It is not about changing other people's minds. It is about the quiet, steady work of reclaiming your own. It is about deciding what you allow to enter your mind and influence your feelings. The world will always be noisy. The goal is to cultivate a little bit of silence inside. A space where you are not just reacting, but are free to think.